Okay, so I am in this video going to go over finalizing our little vector portraits. So you know you'll be in a good place to start finalizing these designs when again you can press Ctrl Y to zoom in, and then you see you have a good amount of detail in kind of the mouth, eye, nose area. Our kind of main facial features are what you really want to focus on. Like I said, you don't need too much detail in the hair, and outside of your face region, you don't need too much detail, though I encourage you to include as much as you can while we're working. To actually start filling in these areas with color, I'm going to do my recommended way. Now you can do it like we did for the Apple project and take the image and move it off to the side. But for this demonstration, I'm going to go and color in directly over top my image layer right here. So to do so, I'm definitely going to make sure the image layer is locked. If it isn't locked for some reason, simply click your image to select it, press Ctrl and 2 on your keyboard, or go up to the top and hover over where it says lock, and you'll be able to lock your selection. Whatever the case is, once I do that, I'm going to go ahead and one extra step is I'm going to grab my rectangle tool. And using the rectangle tool, I'm going to create a rectangle that basically just goes and covers my document here. That way, when we start to use the paint bucket tool to fill in this area, you're going to be able to fill in the background behind your photo as well. Once I do all of that, then I'm going to go ahead and basically select all my paths on my artwork, including that rectangle I just added. I'm going to make sure I lock the image layer too so I don't accidentally select that. And once I have it all selected, and you can see here it's selected because these little dots are highlighted on this layer 2 right here. And it looks like I accidentally put that rectangle in layer 1, so I'm just going to drag that over and then relock it. And now I should be able to select everything. There's actually a couple ways to do this. Again, you can just click and drag with your mouse, which will select everything. I can press Ctrl A, which will select everything, or I can click this little dot here, which again will select everything on this layer. However the case is, once it's all selected, I'm going to go back to Object, Live Paint, Gap Options. I just want to make sure again this is set to large gaps, and I'll hit Set Default. And I'll go back, Object, Live Paint, Make. And now if I click off to the side, because I want to deselect everything first, I hit K. I can hover my mouse over these areas, and you'll see they get highlighted with that paint bucket tool. So now to start actually filling in these areas with color, it's going to be just like we did for the Apple assignment. So I'm going to start out with my shirt here. I'm going to press I, select the color I want to sample, press K, and now when I click to fill that area in, it'll fill that area in with that color I selected. I'm just going to continue to go and color in my lines here. So for this part of my neckline, select the color I want. Once I have it selected, K, click to fill it in, and then we'll just repeat that process over and over again as we work to fill in our designs. If for some reason you accidentally select the wrong color that you're trying to fill in an area, you can just press Ctrl Z to undo that action. Press I, select the correct color, and then go ahead and continue filling it in. Now as you're working, one thing I like to do is I like to go ahead and just every now and then hide the picture layer. And that'll make sure that if you, as you're going through and filling in these areas, that you're making sure all the areas get correctly filled in and there are no gaps. So I'm just going to work on going through and filling in all these areas. I'm probably just going to fast forward through this part for you, but then once I'm done filling in all these colors, I will check back in and go over the last couple steps. And just other general things, like if you have areas that are lots of similar colors, you don't need to always resample the colors. You can just go ahead and start dropping them where you see those bits. And then finally, this is actually a good example. If I do run into an area like this right here, where I have like this little sliver I created, but it's still treating this as if it's one single shape, it's because there is a small little gap in between my lines. In that case, I can use my direct selection tool to select that line, drag that anchor back down so it's connecting to a path, and then I should be able to go back, select that point, or select the color I want to change it to, make sure I don't have the actual line itself selected, so I'll just click off to the side. But now I should be able to select that color and then fill in this gap without it affecting the other one next to it. Boop. I'm going to select this color again because I wanted this yellow color. And there we go. So again, I'm going to go ahead and just work on the rest of this, and I will catch you back once I have all of the colors all filled in here. And actually, this is a good part to go through and just show you guys. So as I'm filling in this last two teeth right here, I might run into a situation where I might want to go through and add more lines. Now, if I go and I grab my pen tool and I divide these areas up, if I go back to my paint bucket tool, sometimes you'll see here it's actually breaking up that space. If for some reason it's not breaking up that space, and I'll try again over here to see if this works. Press K. Like you see here, right? It's not breaking up that space. That's because this line that I just recently added is not part of this live paint group. So to add it to the rest of this group, I'm just going to go through, select everything again on my canvas, and then go to Object, Live Paint, and choose Merge. And you'll watch that as I click it, it joins the live paint group. Now if I zoom back into that tooth area, making sure I click off to the side to deselect so I don't change the color of everything I currently have selected. Click I, grab the color, click K, click to fill it in, I grab the color, K, fill it in, and now you see I was able to effectively go through and sample those colors. And if you ever get to a point too where you're trying to fill in the color and it really is not grabbing the color you're trying to click on, sometimes you just need to zoom super far in to make sure you're clicking on the right colored pixel that you want. So again, I'll set it back to fast forward after this point and let you guys keep cooking. All right, so now that we're pretty much done filling in the areas with color, the one thing we want to do is just go ahead and hide our image layer, and that'll let us know if there are some areas that we still have to fill in. So it looks like I have some areas in the corner of my mouth, the top of my hair, my glasses that I need to fill in. So again, I'm just going to zoom back in, fill those in real quick, and I'll catch back with you for the background. And I think with that, we should be good. So just like we did on the Apple project, what we're going to do next is we want to get rid of all these outlines. To do so, I will select my artwork. I'll go down to the stroke color right here, and I'll set that to none, which you can also activate by pressing backslash right there. And again, when I compare the version with the lines still on versus the version with the lines off, you're going to see here it's going to make a kind of huge difference. You're going to get this really kind of smooth out image. Now finally, we want to give this image a background, and for the background, that part's going to be super simple. You can, if you want, create a layer underneath your live paint layer right here. you can grab your rectangle tool and draw a big old rectangle that covers the background of the document. And once you do that, what I want you to do is simply grab your eyedropper tool again and click around your document to sample a color from the background on your final image. The reason I want you to sample the color from your image for the background is this way we're going to ensure that we have a very unified color scheme, where the color scheme in the background complements the colors that are on the actual portrait itself. Now, I usually recommend something that will contrast real well so that it will stand out from the background. So I'm going to choose this kind of blue color that I have right here. You can also sometimes just zoom in and choose like random little colors on your face. That part's totally up to you what you choose. And if you want to go crazy with the background as well, you can also do something like give that background a gradient of some sort. Whatever the case is, if you do want to do some sort of gradient for the background, I recommend, again, just making sure that the colors you sample are colors from the actual document itself. But that part's totally up to you. And I think that for the most part, these look best when they have just a nice clean color in the background. The other thing you can do too is if you want, you can also use your paint bucket tool to go through and paste that in as well. So the reason my background wasn't showing up was because I mistakenly set my stroke to the gradient and not the fill color. But yeah, that part is totally up to you. Now, one final thing you might want to do is if your image itself, what you traced, is bigger than your document, you want to make sure you scale that back down to fit on your artboard right here. Now, when you're scaling, hold shift so that you don't accidentally make yourself like weirdly wide or weirdly tall, and just try and make sure this fits on that background layer. It's okay if a little bit is going off the artboard, because again, it'll crop that part off in the end. And then to save and submit our document, we'll do it the normal way. Go to File, select Save As, make sure you save the final one you go to turn in on your computer, and you'll name it your last name _ portrait. And then, as always, File, Export, Export As, and from here we'll be able to export it as a PNG image, making sure we select Use Artboards. And for this project, you can set it to high if you want a really nice version to keep for yourself for any reason. But for this project, I would just recommend exporting it at a medium resolution. So if I go back into my documents, I can see that file, I can zoom in, and again, it looks nicely detailed and looks kind of like me. I'm proud of it. So if you have questions about this whole process, definitely let me know. But whenever you are ready, you can go into our week 9 and 10 module to submit your 2 files. Remember, always submit the Adobe Illustrator and a PNG file as well.